This Twitter user has put together a very wonderful thread showcasing the weekly chapter release of My Hero Academia alongside of its volume release, getting to see the touch-ups and see what Horikoshi was cooking for these last few months ever since My Hero Academia came to an end. Some of these pages are very subtle, and some of them are just vastly different in terms of art quality, to the shading and the line work. You can definitely see it. I'll go over this thread in just a moment. But before I do, I was linked this video here. I'm in it, apparently, but apparently there's some really interesting information about Baku Deku shippers within this video that I'm gonna, watch and look into, but also I want to talk about the legacy of My Hero Academia, what I've been witnessing for the last week or so, and honestly, it's sad. It's a very sad state, and so the reason why I want to talk about this is because I cannot believe, out of everything that I've seen the most complaints on when it comes to My Hero Academia, it is the way the shipping turned out, which I understand. There's always been talk of the shippings and pairings within the My Hero Academia community, a lot of toxicity around it for a long time, a decade. I know a lot of people have complained about it. But to actually see when the series comes to a close and just see people become so rabid and angry about, Ochako and Deku actually being confirmed a pair is insane. People have gone so far that they have went out of their way to even attack Horikoshi, calling him basically, quote-unquote, a very horrible writer or shit writer because they did not get the pairing they wanted at the end, when there was next to no hints or any setup for Baku Deku to end up together. People live in so much delusion that they fool themselves that their fanfic is actually reality, and when Horikoshi actually does the stuff that he's been setting up since the very beginning, they get outraged and angry. And I'm just, this post I made a few days ago really does summarize my thoughts. Like, is this really the legacy we want to leave the series on? And let's talk about that. My Hero Academia is not perfect. I have talked about it in a positive and negative light for the last 10 years. A lot of negative in the last few years, but there is still positives to talk about. And I've been very vocal about my thoughts and feelings of the series as it's progressed. I do think that, once we had the whole Star and Stripe situation with the manga, the series started to go a little bit downhill. There were some uphills, but downhill again. I'm not going to tread back into that controversy. The point I'm getting at is that I've had some complaints with it. But despite that, it will never take away that the journey of My Hero Academia was enjoyable. I loved reading the series on a weekly basis. I loved remembering when I first read the series a long time ago, when there was 3 chapters out and nobody was translating it. Viz Media actually releasing chapters on a weekly free basis on their site wasn't really even a thing at that point. I remember that, the official translator at Viz was trying to call Quarks something else, and then the community reacted in such a negative way that Quarks became the main name for the power system within My Hero Academia. I was there from the very beginning when the series started, and seeing the growth of the series, it was an enjoyable experience, but the community obviously spread, and the pairings and the shipping fandom grew exponentially large. And for a decade, there has always been talks that the My Hero Academia community is one of the most toxic shonen manga communities on the internet. Do I believe those words? Right now, even after everything that has come out and what I've been seeing for the last week or so, I don't think it is the most toxic. There is 2 fandoms I'm thinking in my head right now that is way more toxic than My Hero Academia. One fandom in particular likes to harm people and wish death on people, and another fandom just takes things a little bit too far. But anyways, what I will say is that My Hero Academia's fandom is pushing that boundary. It is definitely a fandom that has grown outwardly toxic, and it does have a very bad rep from the very vocal minority. And just seeing the amount of outrage and hatred that Horikoshi-sensei has gotten in the last week, and even his assistants, is insane. Like, this post here that I made, literally, Horikoshi's assistants are blocking Baku Deku shippers because of how toxic they are. And let's put this in perspective, okay? Horikoshi's assistants, most likely, they just write and speak in Japanese. Do they know English? Potentially. Maybe not all English, it's not their native language. It's perfectly fine. So you gotta imagine how toxic you have to be for like an assistant for Horikoshi that mainly speaks and probably talks in Japanese to see your post potentially in English and then block you because you're that annoying. Insane stuff. Actually insane. But it doesn't just stop there. I mean, obviously, I've seen people just outright wishing death on Horikoshi, saying he's a fraud, and all these different type of stuff, and it's astronomically insane. So before we go any further, I've been told to watch this video because there's some new information in this video that I have not covered at all on social media, but also on YouTube. So let's see what's being said here, and also since I'm literally in the video and being used as some form of source, I'd like to see also what's being said. So let's begin the video.
Baku Deku shippers are mass blocking Horikoshi's official account. So if y'all somehow just still do not know by this point, Horikoshi released extra pages for the last physical volume of My Hero
Honestly,
Academia,
amazing pages. Like, corrected the ending for me.
And since just yesterday, Horikoshi has lost over 10,000 followers for people mass blocking him.
Hold the phone. Did I hear that? Back up. Wait a minute, what?
Ochako, and since just yesterday, Horikoshi has lost over 10,000 followers for people mass blocking him.
You're telling me it wasn't the ending of My Hero Academia that came out months ago that caused people to mass block and unfollow Horikoshi, but because Ochako and Deku got together. These people are unwell! They are so unwell! Like, mental illness on full display, dude! Oh my goodness, no wonder the My Hero Academia community just gets so much flack. Why people really call it one of the most toxic communities on the internet when you have people so unwell and so deluded. They have deluded themselves with fan art, fan fiction, and just their own imaginations that they legitimately believe that Deku and Bakugo are going to be a thing. But when Horikoshi has set obvious details up throughout the entire manga that Ochako and Deku would get together, they get so furious to wish death on Horikoshi and his assistants, and they unfollow him. And to be fair, Horikoshi has like 3 million followers. Okay, that's a lot. And losing 10,000 isn't, you know, in the grand scheme of things, not a lot in terms of 3 million. But 10,000 people is 10,000 people. That's a lot of people, okay? It is still a good sample size. And the fact that even though we know it is the vocal minority, 10,000 unwell individuals, and probably way more than that, have unfollowed and blocked Horikoshi because they did not get the romantic ship that they wanted. And I go back to what I said. Is this really the legacy we want to leave My Hero Academia on? I feel bad for Horikoshi, man. I really do. Like, this man has been struggling with health problems. He's been dealing with, like, people in his own ear with his editors and people in Japan not liking, like, the Villain Academia arc and all sorts of other little issues that we're probably completely unaware of. And now he's dealing with this. Months later, after his series comes to an end and he writes a new conclusion or an expanded conclusion, you have all this hate being slung his way and his assistants' way. It is insane. These people are so mentally ill, man. I still don't think that they are the most toxic, but man, they are at least top 2, top 3. I definitely think so, because I cannot believe people are doing this, man. Like, oh my goodness. Anyways, let's continue the video.
And you have full-on Baku Deku fans crashing the hell out, bro. And I mean this with all due respect, but you got Baku Deku fans even
Wait.
creating their own fantasies.
Is this I don't know if you know this, but that right there is the panel where, you know, that came out for Volume 42, you know, the new expanded ending. This is the page where you see Deku drinking the water, and he looks over at Ochako that's, like, laughing and smiling. And, you know, obviously they're about to start going out. Someone recreated that entire page that isn't officially out for buying yet in the West, and made this fan art to canonize in their own head Baku Deku. If there has never been another sign for mental illness, this is it. 100%. I hope I get to see the page comparison of this. Please tell me you do the page, comparison within this video. I'd love to see it.
The fact that they didn't get the ending that they wanted, but somehow My Hero Academia fans, at least those My Hero Academia fans, cannot tell the difference between a platonic friendship, yes, friendship, and a loving relationship.
He's speaking truth right here. This is honestly so much truth that's being said here, because there's so many people, not just in the My Hero Academia community, but in a lot of communities, gaming communities, and all sorts of different TV series communities and stuff, that legitimately look at, let's say, two individual characters that just have a brief moment together, and instantly in their head, oh, they're fucking, they're having a sexual relationship together. That's what they instantly think, and there was literally nothing there but them basically either saying hi to each other, or someone handing over a bag of chips or something, and it's just like, no, that's not how it works. No, that's not what happens. You can be platonic friends or have platonic moments or just moments of interaction that has nothing intrinsic with it. For instance, with nature of romantic feelings and stuff. You can do good gestures without saying they're in a relationship. It's just like, bro, he's speaking so much truth right here, honestly. Like, this isn't just, the My Hero Academia community. This is just communities in general that do this.
Dude, you even had Toga.
Yeah, I talked about this in my video, where Toga pushes Ochako. This has never been more obvious what Horikoshi was trying to say.
This is actually just so childish, bro. Please stop.
He's not wrong here when he calls him childish. Like, Baku Deku shippers are just so childish, man. I'm willing to bet you most of them are not even adults. I'm willing to put money on it. Most of them are very unwell kids that have deluded themselves for all these years. Maybe some are adults, but they're probably not even 18 plus. Most of the people that are being this unwell about the ending of My Hero Academia. But, yeah, overall, good video, my man. Good video. It's very short. I don't normally watch TikTok videos, but this is a good video. Straight to the point, very good. Yeah, check this video out, guys. But, with that being said, let's move over into this thread. So, I want to be very quick on this, because it's very simple to really do cross-comparisons of the difference of the artwork. But, there is something that does need to be said about this, and that is the fact that there has never been a better example of just how Horikoshi was being neutered by weekly release schedule. Just looking at the artwork alone, it's very subtle in some of these things, but if you look at, like, for instance, this is the weekly, and this is the volume, you can see the very subtle differences in the panels and the way the artwork is done. I think one big indication of just the beauty of the artwork is definitely this scene here. Like, look at the face of Deku here. This is the weekly release that we got with the chapters months ago. And then you look at this over here. Just look at the way the face of Deku is drawn. It looks more on point, looks more accurate to his actual design. His facial expression's better. I mean, you also have stuff like this. I mean, look at this right here. Look at, like, Deku at the top. This is the weekly chapter. And then this is the manga volume release. And you can just see the expression on Deku just looks more organic and better. Even the shading and the hair is done a lot better. And, I mean, look at Ochako's touch-up as well. Like, you can see the way Ochako's face position is. It's very different as well between the two. And I'm just like, this really just goes to show that Horikoshi, it's insane how good his artwork is, but it wasn't even the best that he potentially could offer because of just the tight deadlines of a weekly release. Imagine, like, mangaka, like Oda, not having, like, weekly release schedule. Imagine if they were able to cook on a chapter for weeks at a time, or even months and all that, how gorgeous their chapters would actually look. It's insane. I mean, this one's also a big difference. Like, look at the statue here. This is the weekly release, and then this is the volume release. Just look at the detail of the statues. It's so much more defined, honestly. I love this one so much. But, yeah, I gotta say that this is a very nice thread showcasing the comparisons and stuff of just, like, the artwork differences and what a volume could really do for a weekly release manga. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that. It makes me sad, though. As the days count on by, and My Hero Academia is in the review mirror, like the ending of it is, I do think that the legacy of the series, sadly, is just going to be Toxicity, which is depressing. It's really depressing, because a lot of people are just going to think of My Hero Academia about this reaction from the community, and, Sad, man. It's just sad. I'll leave it at that, though. Thank you so much. Be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.